Welcome to the A-Game podcast, where I help you bring your best to be your best in all areas of life: business, relationships, career, health and wellness, anywhere you want to excel. I'm your host, Stephen Griffith. Today we're tackling one of the most important parts of performance: recovery. Here's the truth. According to the American Psychological Association, over 70% of adults report chronic stress. That's 7 out of 10 people running on fumes, not fuel. Whether you're an athlete, executive, or entrepreneur, being stuck in the go mode burns out your body, focus, and drive. But here's the good news. Recovery isn't about slowing down. It's about coming back stronger. Today, we'll break down 10 mind-body recovery tools, each backed by science, and show you how and when to use them to perform at your peak. So let's jump in. Number 1, my favorite, the ice plunge and cold shower. Cold plunges are one of my favorite ways to reset my body, and I hope it is for you. Your body, your nervous system. You know, the moment you hit that cold water, your body responds instantly. Blood vessels constrict, metabolism kicks in, and your nervous system learns to regulate stress. So what are some of the benefits of a cold plunge or cold shower? Reduced inflammation and muscle soreness. Increased circulation and immune response. It boosts dopamine and energy levels. And here's the real good one. Strengthens mental resilience and stress tolerance. A cold plunge isn't just physical, it's a mental edge. Each plunge teaches your brain to stay calm under pressure, strengthens discipline, and instantly wakes you up. It's like a reset button for focus and energy. So a couple ways to do it. And they all work. It's just lifestyle, what you want to invest in. So number 1, the easiest one probably is just start with the cold shower, right? Do 30 seconds. You can build up there. Just let the cold water hit your body. As it's happening, it will be shocking. Just focus on your breath, slow your breath down. So that's one way. 2 is a cold plunge. This is what I do a couple times a week. And so you can do that in your bathtub with ice, or there's so many companies out there now with actual, setups for it. And, this is the water set between 36 and 45 degrees. And, you want to get in the plunge 1 to 5 minutes, gradually building that time up. 3 to 4 minutes is a good amount. And then when you get out, just let your body naturally warm up. And in the cold plunge, which is great, if you pair some visualization or some breath work, can really calm yourself down. The last one, this is a really easy one. And this one is what I call the ice bowl for your face. So you take a bowl, put a bunch of ice in it, and this can be a reset if you're stressed out, if you're fatigued, if you just can't get yourself going. So you fill it up, you put your face in, 30 seconds to about a minute, and it'll start shifting your energy. So what's the mechanism behind this for those science-focused people? The cold triggers vasoconstriction, reduces inflammation, and the rewarming improves circulation, brown adipose tissue activation, norepinephrine release, which moves to alertness and a mood boost. The vagus nerve gets stimulated, you get a better heart rate variability, and also just a better stress tolerance. So you can use it post-workout, you can do it on mentally days where you're drained, or if you need a wake up. Now, there is some research on here that correlates cold plunge after workouts can reduce the building of muscle. Now, for most people, that's not going to be a real issue unless you're like a world-class athlete or bodybuilder. So just know that it is some of the things that can affect muscle growth. All right, number 2, another thing that I use on a weekly basis, and that's the sauna, a regular sauna and an infrared sauna. Heat is another powerful recovery tool. Saunas and infrared sessions create controlled stress that your body adapts to. Heart rate rises, circulation improves, and cells start repairing themselves. So benefits: detox and reduces oxidative stress, improves cardiovascular and metabolic function, boosts natural growth hormone, releases tension, and promotes deep relaxation and better sleep. You strengthen your cardiovascular system, improve cellular health, and man, you just walk out relaxed and primed and rejuvenated. So a couple ways to do it. So you have the regular sauna, which is a bit warmer, right? And so that's more of the outside heat hitting you. 10 to 20 minutes. That's usually between 140, 180 degrees, a couple times a week. You really want to hydrate before that. Now, the infrared is a little bit different. The infrared is warming you up from the inside out. So I do mostly infrared. And once again, for the science folks, the mechanism, heat activates heat shock proteins, cellular repair, elevated heart rate, vascular conditioning, and the infrared enhances mitochondrial and ATP production. All right? Use it after work, use it before work, use it anytime you need a reset. And I'll just mention for a second here, before we get on to the next one, is that recovery is one of those things that, we're getting more aware in our culture, and that as a high performer, it's one of the things that many of us aren't paying attention to. But the better you create your recovery program, the more you're going to perform. We have a kind of a history of just, going, and recovery is kind of a secondary thought. Let's move that back into a first level thought. All right, next, number 3, walk in nature. For some people, like in Japan, they call it nature bathing, but really a couple things happen. You're taking a break from your day. Walking in nature is the simplest and most cost-effective recovery tool. It calms your nervous system, reconnects your mind and body with the environment. Benefits: reduces cortisol and blood pressure, enhances mood, mental clarity, and creativity. Strengthens immunity, provides an emotional reset from daily stress. A nature walk gives you mental and emotional lift. It just helps you think clearer and feel better. And, anytime during the day, getting out around something that is green, right? And if you want to enhance it, take your shoes off, put your feet on the ground. For me, being in nature just allows me to get grounded, just allows me to be grounded. And when you do it, if you can, folks, leave your phone behind. Leave the electronics behind. Just be there. And one of my old mentors who's passed on some years ago, Dr. Wayne Dyer, he said, when you go into nature, there's nothing to do. Nature does you. So taking the time to get away from that technology, taking in the air, having that sunlight has a massive change on your mindset and your recovery. What is the mechanism for our biology people? The gentle movement plus oxygen exposure, parasympathetic activation, oxidative stress reduction, amygdala calming, prefrontal cortex activation, and it's just giving us an emotional balance. And you can use it anytime to clear mental fog. Just take a break from your productivity, and it's the cheapest, easiest thing you can do. All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 4, hypnosis. This is a personal favorite of mine. I'll get into in a moment how I was introduced to it, but hypnosis is one of the most misunderstood concepts. I get this all the time. They're like, "You're going to make me quack like a duck or do something crazy," this hypnosis stage stuff a lot of people say. But what is hypnosis? It's a state of focused attention and heightened suggestibility, often accompanied by deep relaxation. It works by bypassing the critical, analytical part of the mind, accessing the subconscious, where habits, emotions, and deeply ingrained beliefs reside. Hypnosis uses verbal suggestions, visualization, and relaxation techniques to help an individual enter the trance-like state. In this state, the brain is more receptive to positive suggestions, making it an effective tool for changing behaviors, reducing stress, overcoming fears, and improving performance. What are the benefits? And I'm going to just give you a few. There are dozens. Reduces chronic stress and anxiety, improves focus, sleep, and mental clarity, builds calm and resilience under pressure, reframes subconscious limiting patterns. And so, a quick story about how I was introduced to hypnosis. So, for many of you that do know my history in my athletic career, I had suffered a few hamstring injuries, and really that first one was mentally devastating. What was happening for me, this is before I moved on from a scholarship at a junior college, is I was working to get the scholarship, and I had this injury. And as my physical recovery continued, and the trainer said, "Hey, you're ready to run full speed," every time I would get into that last gear, my mind would kick in and go, "Don't do it. You're going to get injured again." And as much as I tried, I would be like at 90%, and I just wouldn't let it go. Trainer said, "Hey, you're fine." And so I found out about hypnosis. I remember going to this little strip mall, and it was pretty expensive back then. I'd saved my money. I went in there, had no idea what to expect, right? And for those older people, it was they did a recording on a cassette tape. For younger people, just ChatGPT what cassette tape is. And so they gave me this cassette tape. I sat in the office. It was about 40 minutes. They did some stuff. I don't even really know what happened. I was like, oh, that felt good. And they gave me this tape. And I'd go home and put it in my tape player, and I would play it. They said, play it every night for the next month. And what happened was I slowly was able to get into the next gear. And I was like, oh, this is so weird. I had no idea the details of it. And so over a couple of weeks, I got back to running full speed. And it was just like, I felt like it was like magic, right? So guided hypnosis, how to use it. So hypnosis recording, I have a whole track. We'll put a link in the show notes called Performance Hypnosis. Just close your eyes. You put the headbuds in, dark room, and you just listen to it. And, it changes the brain waves, and it creates this place of neuroplasticity in the brain, rewiring the responses. And so your sympathetic arousal decreases, cortisol drops, and subconscious patterns become more aligned and focused with who you are today. And, one last story, recently I was engaged by a female world champion boxer, Franchon Cruz de Cern, and she lost her title in boxing. And it was super middleweight, and she had to reestablish it. And she was like a 10-1 underdog. And so what we did is have her visualize exactly what she wanted. And then I created a script. So I made a custom hypnosis program for her. She ended up winning the championship. And she told me afterwards, she said, Stephen, everything in that track happened. We had programmed her mind, and she did the work. One of my other athletes, Kaimi Fairbairn, the kicker for the Texans, worked with him for the last 4 years. Part of our regular protocol is 2 days before every game, I do a custom hypnosis with him, take him through, calm his nervous system, get him focused. And it's one of the key things for his success that I provide. Ultimately, he's a world-class athlete. He's got to do it, but it's something that's really helped him be the best. So you can use it before bed, midday. The tracks that I've created are 10 minutes long, so they're super easy to do it. But anytime you want to drop your stress, get in that zone, it's so easy. Just hit play. All right, number 5, meditation. So meditation is one of the other secret powers besides self-compassion, and it's training the brain to be present, right? Meditation is like strength training for your mind. It thickens your prefrontal cortex, shrinks your amygdala, and trains attention and emotional control. Reduces anxiety, stress, and emotional reactivity. Strengthens focus, patience, and cognitive control. Enhances emotional stability. Supports your immune and cardiovascular health. So that's the technical stuff. So, and lastly, this really big thing here is it increases your ability to recover from distractions, right? That's really what it is, okay? So let me just jump into how to do it. So it's very simple. So a lot of people come to me and they go, I can't meditate. My mind gets distracted. And meditation is not about not having your mind get distracted. It's about being present in the moment. If you get distracted, coming back. So it's very simple. Here's what you do. You close your eyes. Actually, I'm going to do a little demo for you. So just go ahead and close your eyes. And just listen to my voice. And just begin to notice your breath coming in and out. And you can put your attention right on your belly button. And notice as you inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. So this is what we do. We pick a neutral part of the body. And we just start noticing our breath. Right? We're just noticing our breath. We're not trying to fix anything or change anything. We're just being with what is. And being with what is allows thoughts to come in. Oh, a thought came in, or a feeling. No problem. We identify that's a thought or a feeling, and then we come back to our breath. That's it. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're not trying to be a monk on top of a mountain. You're being with what is without judgment and just a little bit of that curiosity, right? So let's just do it for the next, 30 seconds. Just keeping your eyes closed. Just noticing your breath coming in and out. naturally and easily, not trying to fix or change anything, just noticing. Maybe in your room you're noticing an air conditioner or some noises outside of your room. Notice it and come back. Notice it and come back. And go ahead and just take a deep breath in, exhale, open your eyes. And this is a short, real short version of that. Like I said, it's very easy to do. It's very easy to do. So what are the mechanisms? So when we relax, the brain waves change. The prefrontal cortex activates, the executive control. The amygdala calms down. There's a lower stress response. And so when can you use it? So I meditate every morning, in the morning, and sometimes in the evening, but you can use it really anytime. I like it in the morning to set your day. And that is a reminder, anyone can meditate. If you can close your eyes and focus on your breath coming in and out, you can meditate. All right, number 6, breath work. Breathing is one of the fastest ways to reset, to recover. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system. If you've been following me, you're an expert on this, which counteracts stress, lowers cortisol, enhances concentration, improves oxygen exchange, stabilizes heartbeat, and increases resilience under pressure, and reduces stress and anxiety. A lot of these benefits are going to really be affected right away. Breathwork gives you instant access to calm energy, mental clarity. It's a reset button that you can do anytime. So I'm going to take you through 2 techniques, very simple. We have a whole nother episode on breath, but I want to give it to you if you're listening to this. So for a bigger reset, we want to do what's called box breathing. It's very simple. It's like a box. So you're going to inhale for 4. You're going to exhale for 4. You're going to hold for 4. You're going to inhale for 4. You're going to exhale for 4. You're going to hold for 4. You're going to exhale for 4. You're going to hold for 4. It's that simple. Each one of those is 4 seconds. And you want to do that from 2 to 3, up to 5 minutes. This is going to be a massive down-regulation of your nervous system. It's very powerful. You can do that any time of the day. It's very helpful at night for sleep. Now, a faster one is what we call the 4-7-8 breath. Dr. Andrew Weil, anti-aging wellness doc, learned this from him some 20 years ago. It's very simple. So if you're stressed out, your RPMs are high, you just take 4-second breath in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you exhale through the mouth for 8 seconds. It's called the 4-7-8 breath. And you can do that a few times. This is a very fast parasympathetic activator. So the mechanisms, okay, your vagus nerve gets activated, your parasympathetic state comes up, better oxygen delivery, cortisol drops down, there's stress relief and improved performance. When to do it? Anytime you're in high pressure situations, your RPM start kicking up, you're in a slump during the day. For my athletes, every single athlete, executive, anyone I'm coaching, they're using breath because it's a very simple and effective way to reset your nervous system. Now you pair that with self-compassion, positive self-talk, the anchor, all these other tools, we have a powerful state change. This simple tool is a game changer in activating the parasympathetic calming system. And man, we need more calming out there. All right, next one, 7, journaling. Now, journaling is one of the things that I personally resisted. It was not my nature, and for a lot of men, I will just say this, when I say journaling, their eyes just roll. And the people that do it have really, really good results. So journaling clears the mind and organizes your thoughts. It's just writing out your feelings. It helps regulate emotions, strengthen awareness of goals and challenges. The benefits: releases mental overload and emotional tension, enhances clarity, insight, and self-awareness, improves problem solving and goal tracking, boosts motivation, mental resilience. I mean, ultimately, it takes that chaos and it turns it into clarity, and it just lets your body reset and focus again. And it's very simple. End of the day, you don't want to do it right before bed, but at the end of the day, you take out a pad, and there's a couple ways to journal, right? The way I like to coach to begin with is just write out with no filter, any thought. And when you look at it, a lot of times you look at it and go, man, I hope no one reads this. So you want to, I tell people, burn it, tear it up. Don't leave it around for people to read. It's probably not going to be good for your relationship or your kids if they pick it up, because it's just a mental dump and you get it out. You get it out. You get it out. The mechanism: prefrontal cortex, cognitive organization, amygdala, emotional calmness. You get a dopamine release, and you just get that clarity. And as I said previously, when can you use it? Anytime you're stressed. End of the day, it's great. Great for reflection, mental reset. All right, number 8, sleep. Out of anything I'm going to cover today, the biggest lever that you can pull for your recovery is sleep. We are in a society that, if you ask high performers, the thing that they're going to cut on is sleep. And I am telling you, it will catch up to you. It's the biggest lever. Okay, why? Because it repairs the benefits. It repairs the mind and body. It balances hormones, energy, focus, memory, all of this stuff. I mean, there's massive tombs out there on books and performance. But we're just saying here right now, it protects against burnout and cognitive fatigue. It's your ultimate performance answer. And it is the foundation of everything. So, couple things around sleep. Now, everyone has their own ideal amount, right? My ideal amount of hours is about 6 to 7. The research would say 7 to 9 nightly. Most people don't get that. But you want to keep the room dark, cool. You want to be free of any kind of blue light or screens at least 30 minutes before you go to bed, okay? And you want to be on a regular routine. So going to sleep and getting up about the same time within that 30-minute period, that really activates a good sleep routine, and the brain and body love that, right? And the mechanism: tissue repair, as we talked about, memory consolidation, growth hormone, muscle recovery, cortisol reduction, stress reduction. Everything you can think about happens when you sleep. I think out of any one thing that there's probably more research and written about is sleep. Don't negate that. All right, number 9, self-massage, foam rolling. Super easy. If you've been in a gym in the last, couple years, you'll see these rollers. So foam rolling your muscles, relaxes tension, improves circulation. And you basically got a roller and you're rolling your body, right? The nervous system gets reset. So the benefits: reduce soreness and stiffness, improves flexibility and mobility, enhances blood flow, faster recovery, boosts the body awareness and mind-muscle connection. Foam rolling is one of those daily investments, and I still get better at it for me personally, but man, rolling it out for 5 to 10 minutes before a workout or at night just releases that body tension, right? So what's the mechanism? The mechanism for this is autogenic inhibition, muscle relaxation, increased blood flow, faster tissue recovery, and just to reduce an inflammation and pain. And as we said before, when do you use it? After workouts, traveling, it's great, man. If you got a gym there, sometimes I travel with this little foam roller inside it was a mini one, just to roll out my body after I traveled. It's a great 5 to 10 minute investment. Number 10, gratitude practice. Now, you hear about gratitude all the time, but really, gratitude, being thankful for what you have, right, literally changes your brain chemistry. Dopamine and serotonin rise, cortisol drops, the reward circuits light up. Benefits: increase happiness and positivity, strengthens relationships and social connection, reduces stress and emotional reactivity. Once again, builds mental resilience and perspective. And so, how do you do this, right? By the way, that's just some of the benefits. So how do you do that? At night, in my system, I have, before you go to bed in my completing the day worksheet, you just write out 3 things you're grateful for. Now, they can be anything. They don't have to be big. I have a home. I've got running water. I have food. I closed a big deal. But what it's doing, the activation is activating those reward circuits in the body. That's what the mechanism: increase dopamine and serotonin. And it boosts your mood, and it gets you focusing on things that are important and matter. We have a default mechanism in our brain where we're looking at a lot of the stuff that's gone wrong in our day. Let's finish the day, when to use it. Let's finish the day focusing on the good stuff. The good stuff.
Stephen, I'm always, and I speak for many people here, I think, I'm always stressed, moving too fast, but it always feels like I'm running on empty. Where do I even start when it comes to recovery?
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel overwhelmed, like there's no way. But here's the thing. Your brain has been tricked. And what I mean by it's been tricked, your nervous system has been into that sympathetic fight, flight, freeze for so long, you actually can't see the possibility of something else.
It becomes normalized.
Right. Simply, I guarantee you, if I take you through a box breathing for 3 minutes, your whole world right there, you'd be like, oh my God, I feel reset. So it's starting with, there's a lot of tools, but the breath, the meditation, we've got to stop the cycle. See, the cycle enhances the cycle, right? I mean, just taking a break, an actual physical break, and go, okay, I'm going to be with myself. I'm going to meditate for a few minutes. Follow it up with some breath, or breath first and then meditate. Gives us time to self-reflect. The reason we feel stressed and overwhelmed, we're not stopping. We're not checking our gauges. It's like being in your car and go, I'm just driving. You would never do that. You're checking your gauges. How my oil? What's the temperature? Where's the gas? We're not checking the gauges. So just taking a break, starting with a couple of these tools, and man, the whole world changes. The old saying, Wayne Dyer again, when you change the way you look at things, what you look at changes. Mm-hmm. That's the way to start.
So how do I do that when I'm on a deadline, the boss is breathing down my neck, the kids are crying, so many distractions, so many reasons to stay on that hamster wheel of stress and productivity and just moving forward at a very quick rate. How do I, is it a learned discipline? How do I get into that?
It's 100% learned. You know, I tell all my people, post a note, timers on your phone for the breath, and you have to like pay attention and go and understand and believe. Here's what the science is saying. It's like going into the gym. After 8 or 12 sets of, say, bicep curl, 20 sets on your bicep curl is doing nothing other than potentially damaging yourself. That's just like overproductivity. Then our sleep's off. Now we have a hangover for the whole week. So it's just understanding and believing, not by just what I'm saying, but what the research shows. If I take a break, I'm actually going to perform higher. It's like going, I'm going to go to the gas station and I'm going to fill my tank up. That you don't go, oh, should I not fill my tank up? Should I just keep driving and then end up on the side of the road and AAA comes and now I'm 4 hours late? No, you go to the gas station. There's a warning light. It's teaching people in our RPM, recognizing performance mindfully, where is my gauge? And then here's the tools for it. Got plenty of tools. Mm.
Let's shift over to cold plunges.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds awful, if I may say. Do I really need to freeze my butt off in order to recover?
So cold plunges, no one has to do anything. So I love cold plunges. By the way, I've been doing cold plunges for 30 years. I did it way before it was a trend. There's a Japanese contrast bath where you go into either a hot bath and then cold back and forth or use a shower. I love it. It's invigorating. There are lots of, physiological benefits to it. But really for me, probably the bigger thing is the mental thing. There's never a time where I'm like, oh yeah, let's get into 36 degrees. This is going to be, it just doesn't happen. I've done this for a long time. I know how good I feel, the endorphins, the stress release being in it. And then also with an aging body, it does reduce inflammation. So do you have to do it? No. And especially with a lot of my high performers that are stressed out, the ice bowl that we spoke about is super powerful. That, I don't care what's going on in your life. You take a bowl, put in ice and put your face in it for a minute, you're going to snap out of it.
Right.
It affects the nervous system very aggressively.
It's a reset. Sauna versus infrared. Which is better in your mind for recovery? Maybe we say what each of those things are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get too deep in the woods on the science behind it, but like the regular sauna is kind of an outside-in heating, right? And there's some research that shows some different physiological, but the infrared is more of an inside-out. I personally like the infrared better. I have access to both. And they both have very similar effects, but we do know that like like there's a couple pieces of research out there that show regular sauna increases life longevity. There's some long studies on this, but this is a great reset.
What is the infrared? I don't know that
Infrared
everybody
is
knows.
a set of it's an infrared lighting that sends a wave of heat into the body. It kind of heats from the inside out. Where the sauna heat is just regular heat. There's nothing permeating the skin.
Okay. Is that the same as red light therapy?
No, red light's different.
Okay. You know, I've tried meditation, but this is what many people have told me. They tried meditation, but the mind just won't shut down. It won't focus. The mind goes off in a million directions when a meditation is tried. How do we fix that?
So first of all, we're not fixing it. So this is the biggest resistance. I get this about every third person I teach. I can't meditate. And I just go, oh, okay. I go, can you close your eyes? They're like, yeah. I go, do you know where your belly button is? They're like, yeah. I go, can you breathe? They're like, yep. I go, do you notice your belly rising and falling? Yep, you can meditate. They're like, well, no, I gotta stop everything. No, you don't. Meditation, this is the biggest fallacy, gotta get in that zone. No thought. That's not instruction. That's not the ancient instruction. The instruction is be here now. The one style of what regular mindfulness meditation is pick a neutral spot, diaphragm is a good one at your belly button. Notice your belly rising and falling. Thoughts and emotions come in. You're going to. Everyone's mind's doing that. We just go, oh, that's a thought, and come back. So what we do is we start training the prefrontal cortex to be in charge of that versus the limbic brain where it's just having us go everywhere. And it's like, oh, I got a thought. Oh, thought. Interesting. Back to my breath. That's it. Now, over time, and usually, those thoughts and emotions start to settle. But still, experienced meditators still sit down and meditate and have their brain distracted for 5-10 minutes. That's still not a bad meditation. So it's really realizing I'm not getting anywhere. I need to go anywhere. I don't need to judge the experience. It's just being, I'm going to take the time for myself. Whatever comes up, I'm training my body to come back in my mind. Come back. Now, think about today's world. What could be a better training in a world where, oh, it's this. Oh, I got to get back to my work. Got to get back to my kids. You're training yourself to be more resilient and present in the world.
And not having to be perfect at meditating from the get-go. It's not like you're going to force all of these distractions out of your mind. You're allowing them to arrive.
Exactly.
And
what you just said is really important. When we try to force, I'm not going to think of a yellow bird. No. You let it come in, you don't give it attention, and it goes away. When we give it attention, oh my God, why am I thinking this? So that's why I say, when a thought or emotion comes up, you just identify, that's a thought. Not like, why did my boss look at me sideways? And now no, letting it go, coming back. And man, I've been meditating now 16 years consistently. And I started with Vipassana style meditation, that's a mindfulness style. Then moved into the Vedic meditation, which I do now twice a day for 20 minutes. That and self-compassion, the two biggest levers you can change your life with.
Excellent. All right. Breathwork. How does it help me to perform better under pressure? Is it about being more present, more calm? What are the mechanisms there?
So for breathwork is really simple, and we go back to the RPM gauge, the Recognized Performance Mindfully. So on a gauge, like a car, we have the under-aroused, we've got the A-game zone, and then we got overstimulated. Okay? These are the zones, right? The A-game is where we want to be. So one of the things with breath, when we look at performance, breath allows us either to get in the zone or to come down into the zone. And so breath, especially for most people, it's overstimulated, right? So when we do the breath work, a variety of techniques, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, brings the RPMs down. Okay, why? Because we want to be in our zone. If we're overstimulated, we're not performing at our highest level. If we're overstressed, right? And so breath is one of the fastest ways that has nothing to do with our thinking, that'll bring our nervous system down. And over time, using the RPM system, we'll get real present and aware of what our RPMs. Most people, if you ask them, you teach them that, you go, what were your RPMs? And they're like, what? They don't even know. Uh-huh. Because most of the time, they're so overstimulated, they don't even know what the A-game zone is. Mm-hmm. They might just accidentally get there.
Isn't that a big problem, that the feeling of being overstimulated becomes normalized? That is how I am all day, and that's how I am most productive. You say no.
Yeah, not even so. Being in that state of overstimulated becomes normal, right? Not only does it become normal, it becomes addictive. See, we're used to these chemicals going on, and then we're not. We're like, I'm not alive. I'm not doing anything. And a lot of people confuse activity with productivity. I'm doing things. I'm stimulated. Yeah, but you're not producing anything.
Yeah, that's a big one. I love that. We talked a lot, and you talk a lot about sleep, the importance of sleep. So many people I hear say, I fall asleep. Maybe it takes me a little while, but I fall asleep. Yet I still wake up exhausted. What is the issue? What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, sleep is simple and complex all in one conversation, right? There's many factors affecting sleep, right? You're so exhausted, you fell asleep, but you have all these unresolved open loops during the day. So the subconscious starts kicking up, right? And then it pops you up out of that sleep, right? And so we just go back to really the simple things. Right environment in the room. Did I journal? Did I empty everything out of my mind? Am I doing some breath work? So as more and more stress and more distractions come in, it's more and more important to look at what is your sleep routine. Once again, same question I ask clients when they start coming to me. Let's talk about your sleep routine. Tell me what your sleep routine is. I go, what? I go, your sleep routine. Do you have a sleep routine? Like, well, I just go to sleep. I go, is there a routine to it? Most people don't have it. And so we start dissecting what they're doing.
Are you talking about consistent time of going to sleep, the number of hours?
How you're de-escalating your nervous system, like you're calming your nervous system going into it. What the environment is. I mean, most people fall asleep with the TV on. I still have a habit of that sometimes. I watch a Netflix and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, TV automatically goes off, but I have a timer. That's a habit I still haven't broken. Luckily, my sleep is pretty good. Now, there's all kinds of sleep tools now. We've got trackers. I have a Sleep 8 bed system, which actually cools and warms the bed. So that helps with, dropping in and waking up. There's lots of tools. I think the advent of these sleep trackers has probably brought the awareness of sleep and sleep quality to its highest level of awareness in any time in our history.
All right, hypnosis. That is, it sounds like a weird concept to a lot of people. I think we see it in movies and TV.
Yeah.
It's a guy with a stopwatch going back and forth, or a pocket watch in front of your eyes and make you drift off and be suggestive. How is it different from relaxing? Hypnosis versus relaxing?
Yeah, so first of all, they're both great. But hypnosis is an intentional act to calm the nervous system down, let the conscious mind float off, and then, in most situations, program it for positive behavior change, right? And so, in my album that you worked on it as a producer on that, the performance hypnosis, I have specialized music to reduce the brainwave frequency of the brain, right, to make it more receptive. We know it creates neuroplasticity, so we're calming the nervous system down, and then with my voice, making positive suggestions. Everything from confidence, weight loss, purpose, leadership. We've got 10 or 20 tracks. And so it's a different experience, right? It's changing the brainwaves, much different than regular relaxation. And then that change of brainwaves and then programming, it's rapid recovery and programming. You don't get that in relaxation.
Uh-huh. And what is the suggestive nature of hypnosis? The power of, where does that come in, the suggestion?
So when we look at the suggestive nature, so our critical mind is stopping things. Oh, I can't believe that. So we're letting the critical mind, parts of us that don't believe things or parts of us maybe we don't feel good enough, through the induction, that's my voice and the music, the critical mind kind of just floats off. And so we don't have the resistance of hearing the positive feedback that can change through that neuroplasticity in the brain.
We talked earlier about journaling. I think the tendency is either to resist it because I'm too tired, it's at the end of the day, I don't want to do it, or it turns into just me complaining about things that happen during the day. How do I make it maybe more useful than that? Or is that the useful nature of it?
If you really so Penna Baker is the guy out there. If you want to read more, he's done tons of research. So one of the things about journaling, it neutralizes the right and left brain. It kind of calms them both down, right? The corpus callosum connects the two, calms and neutralizes some of their activity. I'm giving you the layman's version of that. It's designed to dump out, the way I'm teaching, there's all kinds of journaling techniques. For this, stress reduction, it's literally take your day and just whatever comes up, you write it. There's no editing. It doesn't have to be perfect grammar. The physical act, I don't suggest computer. You can still do it. The physical writing, the physical kinetic writing, the kinesthetics of writing allows it to pour out. And it's like changing the oil on your car, right? Now, you don't want to do it right before you go to bed because it can activate things. Hour or two before, and then you can practice. And then I love tearing it up or lighting it on fire. It's like a visual, physical release.
So it's externalizing things you may be tending to ruminate about.
Right. And things you're not even aware of until this is what happened for me. When I was first taught this, I'm like, that fucking jerk. I don't want to, like, there was nothing about my beingness that I wanted to pick, like literally, like, and they're like, and I had good coaching. They said, get a pen in your hand or a pencil, get the paper and start. And man, the first time it was pages. There was no consciousness. It wasn't like, let me think about my day. I was like, okay, my day. And then it was.
So it's whatever. Whatever comes out, comes out.
Right. And here's the thing. The stuff that was coming out, I was like, oh man, I don't want anyone reading that. We allow the space for it to come up, right? What's in the dark grows. What comes into the light releases. And once again, these are all about taking the break of being on the hamster wheel. If you notice all these techniques, it's stopping what's going on and allowing you to be in control, not all these outside sources of controlling you.
Right.
Or influencing you.
Yeah. I think people have a tendency to get swept away by the nuances and occurrences of the day as opposed to stepping back and grabbing control over what happens during your day.
Of what you want and investing your time and energy of what matters to you. Not what the outside world is telling you it matters, what you're telling yourself that matters.
Got it. Okay, one more question. Gratitude is the topic here. Something I think most people aren't even thinking about, that it's important to be grateful for what it is you have or what has happened during the course of your day. How does that actually affect, first of all, how do you feel about the importance of gratitude, and how does it affect performance?
Yeah, so gratitude, you hear like all kinds, be grateful, and at the end of the day, it affects the nervous system, okay? Calms the nervous system. It allows you to focus on positive things. What's our default? Looking at what's wrong, what's bad, right? It changes the locus of focus, right? So you're before you go to bed, I like, I have my after completing the day worksheet that we have in the program, that if you're putting we're completing the day, we're putting what we want to do for the next day, but the last thing is, what went well / what am I grateful for? You're setting your brain into what's good. This is what optimistic thinking is. Like, optimistic thinking isn't rose-colored glasses. It's like, what's good? You're taking the regular default mechanism of the brain that focuses on what's wrong or the protection and going, what's good? I mean, it literally can be, I got food in my refrigerator. I had a good conversation. It doesn't have to be a closed a big deal and I got this big car and what? No. Sets the brain at looking at what is good. And if you do that right going into the dream state, that's what you're seeding your subconscious mind to focus on.
So there's actual science to it. I mean, this is not just a good idea I guess it's a good idea to be grateful, and that's nice. But there's science to it.
We know it affects the nervous system. I mean, it's calming your nervous system.
Right.
It's that rest and digest. The parasympathetic nervous system's getting activated. And mentally, you're focused on stuff that's good.
How does the mind-body, all of these tools we talked about, in summary, how do they unlock recovery for peak performance? You think about the breathing, you think about meditation, journaling, the things we've talked about today. Altogether, how does that make me a better performer?
Yeah, so all of these tools together, how does it perform? So it's like anything. Like, I'm going to use the car analogy, right? You can't take a high-performing car, right? Let's take a Formula One or Indy 500. What's a pit stop for?
Fuel up, change tires.
It's a form of recovery, right? There's no way you can win a race in Indy or Formula or whatever it is and go, you know what? I'm not going to take a pit stop. I'm just going to burn these tires down. I'm going to maximize the fuel. First of all, those cars aren't set up to do the whole race without a pit stop. We are not set up to do the whole race without a pit stop. And so, through my coaching and the people that have coached me really now learning, and this is becoming way more at a consciousness level for athletes for sure, but all people, what is my recovery program? And by the way, the things I'm talking about, 90% of them are free. It's free.
Yeah.
There's no cost. But we have an old mindset, grind. You turn on Instagram, grind. I'm not fine for people. I'm no judgment, but an IndyCar has a pit crew. And by the way, the pit crew, we'll call them the recovery crew, is an integral part of winning. You have a shitty pit crew, you are not winning. It is seconds. So I like this analogy on the race car because those people are finely tuned. You want your recovery program finely tuned. What we covered today, super easy to implement these things. You could do it right now, 5-10 minutes. And so understanding that if I want longevity and high performance, recovery has to be high on the priority list. That's a wrap up on today's A-Game episode. In the world that rewards burnout, let's take the time to recover. Pick one tool today, try it, feel the shift, then stack another. And remember, like, subscribe, and share. And finally, always bring your A-game.